Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Joining me today is a special guest, Wayne Noon. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Brian? I'm a special guest today, huh?
Yeah, well, I tend to say that for some guys who are also in a specific amount of groups too, because actually, yours is actually pretty interesting because I was actually checking out some of your YouTube channels, or at least some of the band projects you're a part of with Severed Angel and Project Resurrect.
Yeah.
So we'll get to those a little bit too, but I also noticed that, I guess, your main channel, the one you do with, like, interviews, I guess you'll also do reviews and stuff like that. The Rat Salad. Actually, let me see what the name was.
Yeah, Rat Salad Review.
Rat Salad Review, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. So,
Yeah.
actually, this is also because I joined the band together, that whole group as well.
All right. Yes. Yep. Yeah, that's where I ended up seeing you on. Yeah. That's true. Yep.
So there was that, and also happened to give me a friendly comment as well. So I figured, we'll say special guest. Because you're extremely talented too, so I had to really give you props. So that was
let's not go that far. I just play drums. That's all. That's all I do.
Actually, here's my little quote: "We're drummers. We improvise." That's what
Exactly.
So, how you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad. It's been a weird day, but otherwise I'm doing good.
For some reason, I keep thinking it's Wednesday for some reason. So I almost said
It does.
Happy Hump Day.
Now that you mentioned that, it does feel like a Wednesday. It's just one of those Tuesdays that feel like it's like almost the end of the week.
It's something like that too. And then we're going to say Thursday. I think like it's Friday, and then it's like, oh shit, I got one more day of work to go through. So
Yeah, exactly.
so that always stinks too.
But
actually,
I'm lucky. I have off on Thursdays for my job, so it kind of breaks up the week a little bit,
I was going to say, actually, which part of New York are you hailing from?
Long Island.
You're a Long Island guy. Is it?
Yeah.
Was there different parts to it? Because I think I remember watching Impractical Jokers, and I know they always talk about Staten Island. Is that close by to Long Island by any chance?
Yeah, that's not too far. That's like at the end of the island, but there's Nassau and Suffolk County. Suffolk is where I live. And then Queens is technically part of Long Island, but they don't like to admit it because, you don't cross a bridge to get over into Queens. So Queens is kind of part of Long Island too. But yeah, Long Island's pretty long.
Both physically and metaphorically speaking.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Actually, I remember kind of reading up on some of the bands, more so the death metal bands that came out of New York, with like Immolation, Suffocation, and I know not technically in New York City, but these ones are Malevolent Creation and a Cannibal Corpse. My English is terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Hey, listen, I've been doing podcasting too, and my because I'm also from New York, as you now know. Our English is bad here, so I pronounce things wrong all the time.
We'll just blame the COVID bug because I think it's starting to affect me now in some sort of way. It's not so much getting sick as just having a flu right now. It's starting to affect my speech whole thing now. So.
Oh, do you really? Are you sick now?
No.
Oh.
Just saying that in a joking way too. Actually, I did get COVID last year, and that was actually after me and my parents going down to Nashville to kind of just go and party on Broadway. So.
Oh, really?
So needless to say, when you party too much, that's kind of your consequence you get there too. So.
Pretty much, but you know what? Everything you're supposedly, you look okay, so I think you're all right now, right?
Yeah, at least I hope I'm okay. So
yeah.
Right, that's
I've had it twice, and so far so good. So
I see. We'll get into COVID a little bit here too. So Wayne, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
No worries, and actually this is going to be interesting. So we're going to get to know you more, both as the musician and as the individual too. So got all the questions right here. I'm assuming you had time to study.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. You got that little cheat sheet.
Yeah, I do. But I do my show without questions. I try to do things off the top of my head. If somebody mentions something, we'll just go off of that. So I usually don't do questions. So I'm very happy that you did have questions for me to answer because it did help me a little bit. Sometimes I go on people's shows and I'm like, oh my God, I got to think about this, think about that. But I should be good on this one.
It's like the awkward silence, and we get the Jeopardy music playing in the background too. So.
That I always try not to have on my show too, because I listen to other podcasts as well, and it's kind of a thing that you kind of learn. Like when you listen to another podcast, you notice there's no silence. On the good shows, they know how to keep the conversation going, even if it's like kind of like off, to something else. There's always something going on. So that's the one thing in podcasting: don't have any silence.
Or at least very long silences, because I think some of the ones I've heard with like Joe Rogan, for example, I think he always had a little bit of pause because I think he was like talking with like these maybe scientists or like philosophers where he like really had to think of the question, kind of like phrase it right too. So
Yeah.
I want to say at least think it over and then like just keep going. Maybe do it bit by bit. That sort of thing too. But,
Yeah. Something like that I could understand. Little pauses here and there.
right. But regardless, let's jump right into the questions right here.
Right, cool.
So let's get to know you a little bit more. So who is Wayne Noon? And I guess how did he become a drummer?
I'm a very strange guy. I became a drummer because back when I was probably like around 10 years old or so, maybe a little bit younger, I was a huge fan of Def Leppard. And Hysteria was the only album I would play constantly. You know, it was just on constant rotation. I bought that album so many times because I've, ruined the tape and the CDs got scratched just over listening. And it always just amazed me how Rick Allen would have one arm, and he's playing the drums and, doing all the stuff. So really got me into wanting to play. And also my grandfather, he was not really a musician, but he did play some guitar and trumpet and stuff like that. So he was always forcing me to get into something musical. And I took up guitar at first, but one day a guy comes in, the music store I was taking lessons in, sits down at the drum kit and starts playing drums. And it's like really loud and just, annoying kind of in a way. And I'm like, I want to play that. I don't want to play this guitar. It's not loud enough. So that was the end of guitar. My parents bought me a drum set for Christmas. And I've been playing ever since. So it's probably been almost 30, 35 years now I've been playing drums. So it's been fun.
Congratulations. First off, right there. And then I was actually picturing like a funny sort of scenario too, where like the guys like playing drums is like one of those like things you just turn around slowly in those dramatic movies, like what is that? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of still remember to this day. This guy he almost kind of reminded me of Bobby Rondinelli. He had this long hair, black long hair, whatever. And this guy he was awesome on the drums, It just sounded so cool. And like I said, it was very noisy. So being young and wanting to play something that's very noisy was right up my alley.
Was he doing a headbang, kind of doing like the little swirls and that sort of thing too?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you got to do something with the drums too, especially if you're having fun with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I lost my hair, but,
Oh, don't worry. I think I'm kind of working my way towards that next. So I think it's an inheritance from my dad, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah, see. But it's funny, you said it was your grandfather that got you into doing music at first, as well as picking up the guitar.
Yeah. My parents really aren't musical. I mean, they do like music and stuff like that, but they didn't really play any instruments or anything. My mom's more into crafty type things. My father had his own towing business, so he was more into cars. But my grandfather, every time I came over, actually this is his house I'm living in now. We took it over once he passed away. But every time I come over here when I was younger, he would be playing records and, radio would always be on and, always something musical over here. And he always wanted me to get into something musical. Not too much in sports. That's why I'm really not a sports guy, because nobody really ever got into sports stuff. So music was the thing for me. And it's always been that way.
I see. Actually, I was going to picture, do you have any sort of paranormal activity where a song starts playing for some apparent reason?
No, not yet.
All right, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, too. Otherwise, probably have to call the Ghostbusters at that point and see what the hell is going on, that sort of thing, too. So, all right. And actually, for me, it was more my dad and then a little bit of my uncle who had kind of got me into music because I don't know if they were trying to get me into guitar. I know they were trying to get me into bass originally, and I did sort of some classes. I think I just did that for a little bit, and then unfortunately, the bass kind of got tucked away. Actually, it's tucked right here in the closet. So it's tucked right there. But then drums, for me, happened quite by accident. It actually happened to be a video game, of all things. I'm assuming you heard of Rock Band.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So it started with that.
Really?
Actually, of course, you start off doing the guitar or anything because you're thinking the chicks dig the guitar players and everything, too.
Yeah.
And then, believe it or not, I was actually doing it on my love seat and I actually made my own artificial throne with, like, towels underneath because I was always sweating pretty profusely too.
Oh, of course.
So, and then it obviously progressed from easy, medium, hard, upwards to expert to at least how far down the list you can go. Because once you start getting to ones where it does it like 5 marks and it's like probably little devil marks, for instance, kind of explain like how hard it is.
Yeah.
And that's when you get like to the red marks. That's when it's like the impossible sort of songs are ones you're really gonna have to study to like know what the hell you're doing. So,
right.
I guess, did you ever try Rock Band in the past, or was it?
I have, and for being a drummer and trying to play Rock Band with the drums, I found it impossible because where I would play like this, there is no cymbals and there is no snare drum, so you're playing what it's telling you to hit, and I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be doing this, and I played the guitar in the Rock Band. I did not like the drums.
I would say they at least started, at least around Rock Band 3, to put in some variation of a hi-hat and then one crash and one ride, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least they would make each one kind of sound like, because at times it would be like you would hit the yellow pad, it would be like a cymbal in some cases. Other times it would be mostly your hi-hat.
Yeah.
So I got a little strange, but other than that, it was still fun. It kind of taught me music theory, so I mean, can't really complain about that.
That's awesome, and I imagine that happened to a lot of people, because I think that really did get a lot of people into wanting to learn how to play an instrument, which is probably what that kind of set out to do, and it's awesome, and I'm glad you were able to figure it out, because me, it just I couldn't do it.
Well, you also got to blame Slash, but that was when he was doing like a Guitar Hero, and that seemed like being the starting point there, because then Rock Band started doing a little bit more of everything else with bass, drums, and vocals. So that's where I like to say it all started, because of what Slash was doing on those commercials, just tuning out to his guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know what song he was actually playing. I don't think it was Welcome to the Jungle, but like I said, that's where it all started for me, at least. So
very cool. Do you actually have a band or anything that you play with, or?
I actually came close to joining a cover group in the past.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, it was like, I was thinking maybe it was 2 years ago, because I wanted to make sure I get my history right. I think it's going to be soon to be 2 years. But we were just gathering in this one guy's basement. We were doing covers from like 90s alternatives. So you think of Smashing Pumpkins, Raconteurs, and then actually we did do a couple Green Day songs too. But it was mainly that. But unfortunately, they moved on with a different drummer. Nothing personal or anything like that. I think they knew this drummer pretty well too.
Okay.
But I've got distracted doing like 2 jobs, that sort of thing. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You got to do something that pays bills, even though
exactly.
I really would like to, because I have reached out to a couple guys, one I've interviewed, and I try to get to know them like more personally, but I guess they get a little swamped in their own projects, or whether it's something with work too. So, technically still up in the air at the moment. So
Yeah, but getting into bands is very hard. Actually, my guitar player, he does our band, but he also just started doing, and he did it before, but he just started doing a cover band, and he does play out once in a while as well, because our band that we do now, we really don't play out. It's just a studio band. We record from home and stuff like that. So, he loves playing music, so he wanted to do that, and that's what he does. I wish I could do it too, but it's so hard to get people together. That's why the Severed Angel, we're all in New York except for the bass player, but it's very hard to get our schedules together to get everybody into one room and to practice. So being in a band is very tough, especially when you get older too.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean too. Actually, I guess we can jump into the bands a little bit, but I guess first off, is that your drum set next to you right there, or is that?
Yes, that is one of them. Yes, that's actually a newer kit that I bought probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I think. It's a Mapex, a Mars Mapex kit.
That's very sweet. And I guess what brand are the cymbals? Are they? What did I say? Zildjian?
Those are Sabian.
Sabian.
Nope, Sabians. Yeah, I used to play Zildjian, but I didn't like how they were so bright sounding, and I wanted something a little bit more quieter. And Sabian is pretty much a little bit more quieter than Zildjian is, and I like them. I actually want to get into some other cymbal brands, maybe Paste, and there's a Rude cymbal that I really want for the ride, because it's very dry sounding. Chuck Biscuits on those early Danzig albums, he used those cymbals, the Rude cymbals. And they just sound really cool to me. They sound like garbage, but the ride cymbal sounds awesome. So I'm on the lookout for one of those. They're a little expensive, but maybe one day I'll get one.
Was that the same ride he was using on Mother?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was always thinking of like the ending when it's like those little drum rolls he's kind of doing there, and like ding ding ding, that sort of thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
I just love how that sounds. It just sounds so. It doesn't have like a ringing sound. It's just ping ping ping. It's a really cool sound.
Actually, it's almost like hitting a cowbell in a sort of way when you think about it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
I always kind of laughed with like Vinnie Paul, may he rest in peace. I guess when he talked about his ride, I think he wanted it to sound like breaking glass, that sort of thing too. And I guess what would be your opinion on that?
Yeah, everybody has their own opinions on their cymbals and their drums, and it's like Lars Ulrich. Back in the day, he did have a ride cymbal. Now he threw it away, and now he just has a crash cymbal or a China cymbal. Now he uses, and I'm like, that's kind of backwards in a way. You don't use the China symbol to play on the, as a ride symbol. Just, it's very weird. But you know what? Whatever floats his boat.
I mean, hey, he's been going 40 plus years right now. So I mean,
I think he knows what he's doing by now.
At least we hope he knows what he's doing.
For the most part. With his money that he makes, I don't think it matters.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I've actually did a couple songs from And Justice for All, and I think I'm not noticing any ride symbol, to be honest, or at least in parts where I thought there would be something.
Yeah,
and I think that makes sense.
Yep. After actually starting In Justice for All, I think he stopped using the ride symbol. Maybe even Master Puppets. I don't know. I really have to go back and listen, but I think Master Puppets definitely, and on. No, actually, he did use it on one of the Load or Reload albums, I think, because it was on that song. What was that first song that they had for Load? Until It Sleeps.
Was it that? I was going to say Fuel. I wasn't sure.
No, it was Until It Sleeps. Yeah, he did use it on that. So he did have it for a little while.
I would say, unless it calls for it, then he'll bring it back.
Yeah, then he'll bring it back out.
It's either that or James forced him to just bring it back. Lars, we need Ride. That sort of thing, too. So that's pretty cool. So I guess let's jump into the bands a little bit, because it looks like you're a part of Severed Angel and Project Resurrect. Is those the only two groups, or are you in a couple others?
Those are the only two groups that are my bands. And there's actually another band called Absalon that I just joined. Not really joined, but I'm recording the drums for his latest album. And I just did the drums last week, and it's the first song off their new album. There's like 8 songs on it or whatever. And really cool band. I met him because I met him online. Actually, I've been friends with him on Facebook for a while. And when my band Severed Angel signed a record label, a lot of stuff happened with this record label. And I was messaging people that were also on this record label. And he happened to be one of the bands that was on the record label. So me and him started talking a lot, and just became friends just for talking about that. And then he needed a drummer for the new album he's doing. He's like, "Do you want to do my new album?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." So now I'm part of that. So now I kind of got 3 bands going. And then once in a while, I do some cover songs with my podcast, Rat Salad Review and Friends. I'll invite people that have been on my show, like guitarists or singers or whatever, and we'll just pick a song to cover. And so yeah, I got, I guess, 3 or 4 bands going.
I say, boy, that keeping yourself busy, that's for sure.
Yeah, musically, yes.
Musically, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we use the other job to help pay for everything else too.
The job pays for everything.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Because music does not.
Or at least at the moment, because I guess you on Spotify and all those other platforms?
We are on every single thing you could possibly be on. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Actually, I had to reference the whole thing with like Severed Angel, because it seems like there's always a band that references some sort of angel too, because and just kind of referencing like heavy metal groups, for instance, like Dark Angel, Death Angel, songs like Untethered Angel and Angel of Death from like Slayer, and then Untethered Angel from Dream Theater, for instance.
Yeah,
there's a lot of angels. And
there is a lot of angels. It's a metal thing, you know.
Actually, I would have thought like power metal, to be honest. I guess is that kind of the genre of Severed Angel?
No, because we have a lot of different. Everybody listens to different genres in our band. I listen to more power metal. Lou's into more like the hardcore type stuff. Alex is more into like progressive. George, the bass player, he's more into like the 80s hard rock, hair metal type stuff. And Mark, our keyboardist, he's more into like the extreme like black metal type stuff. So our Severed Angels is a mixture of every single thing that we all listen to. And there is power metal elements in there. A lot of people in the reviews have mixed us up with power metal, and we don't like to be power metal. You know, we just say it's melodic metal. You know, and it's hard nowadays because it's not just heavy metal anymore. It's heavy metal, or it's progressive metal, or it's this metal, that metal. There's just too many subgenres in heavy metal. It's very annoying.
It's just metal, people. Let's keep it that way.
It's just metal, you know. That's just what it is. It's metal with melody in it. But you know, so much metal music has melody in it. So I don't know. It's very confusing, all these subgenres. But we just like to say melodic metal.
Yeah,
I don't want to be lumped into power metal, because when people think you're power metal, they think you're just keyboards. You know, like scheme.
Dragon Force.
Like Dragon Force and stuff like that, but we're really not like that at all.
You know, yeah, I think it was more so because of the singer wise, because it was almost like a Rob Halford sort of singing voice like he was doing there too. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's why I said it too. But sorry sorry to lump you into that category too. But,
It's okay. Listen, that's one of my favorite categories, so it's fine. But some of the other guys are kind of like, we're not power metal, but and that's actually a good compliment because our singer, he just started singing when we were writing this album, so he was just learning how to sing as we were recording and going on, and so that's a good compliment that you think he sounds like Rob Halford.
That was the first one that came to mind too. I'm sure there's like plenty because you think of like Bruce Dickinson, for instance, maybe a little bit of David Lee Roth, especially when he was in his prime. And
Yeah,
I was trying to remember because I know there were actually a couple, but I think they were like lesser known like thrash metal groups too. But I know like in the beginning with like Death Angel, like on that first album, the Ultra Violence, the singer had a bit of a high pitched scream here and there too.
yeah, definitely.
So,
Yep.
But I guess so. Were you guys also influenced by the metal scene that kind of came up? I guess also in Yonkers, Queens, and all around New York.
Yeah, I with my other, I had another band back in the day around the early 2000s called Phoenix Rain, and this is actually how I met my guitarist Lou, because he used to come to my shows. He was friends with one of the guys in the band, and yeah, so we were all influenced by the New York City, like the Queens area, you know, the power metal type stuff that was going on there, and some of the hard rock and stuff that was going on there. So yeah, that's pretty much where we come from, you know. But and it surprises everybody because when you hear the music that we do, they think that we're from Europe, you know, and then they find out we're from New York. They're like, how do you even know this kind of music? You know, it's weird.
I was gonna say, I think they always think it's like Scandinavian, that sort of music too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
actually, funny enough, when I was coming home, they were actually on a Sirius XM of Liquid Metal. They actually were doing the whole thing in honor of Mayhem, more specifically for the singer Euronymous, or not the singer, because he was more the creator, because I think the singer's name was Dead. I think that was his name. And then I think it was Euronymous, who was the big contributor to the whole black metal scene that happened in Norway, then it transitioned over into Sweden, all those ones.
Yeah.
Actually pretty good music. Production for some of the songs, pretty crappy though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so it sounds like somebody just recorded on their little tape recorder, but some of it's okay. I'm not huge into that kind of style of music, but there's some bands I like.
I guess we're also big into like if I'm naming a couple of death metal bands off the top of my head, I know Immolation, which I actually listened to last night. Suffocation. Were you like into those groups at all growing up?
No, I never got into those groups. I didn't start getting into like a black metal, like the Dimmu Borgir type stuff, until like later on, like maybe or later 2000s or so. I was always more into the hard rock type stuff. I didn't like the growling vocals when I was younger. You know, that took a long time for me to get into. You know, that happened way later on in my life. So yeah, I'm not really into the growling stuff, but you know, I do listen to it from time to time.
I would say New York, Florida. I would say California, but I always feel like California was more like in the 80s, to be honest. Then maybe some came out in the 90s and then 2000s per se, but I always felt like Florida and New York were the biggest contributors to at least the death metal scene in the States. So.
Definitely Florida, and also too, my older band Phoenix Rain, we played a lot of death metal bands, so it was some weird shows there for a little while, but it's cool, you know, it's cool to have different mix of music on one show. You know, you don't want to hear the same bands over and over again.
True. I guess did you guys were you covering songs or were you actually playing
it was
next to
all
those groups?
No, it was all our original music. We maybe did a cover song here or there, but the album that we put out didn't have any cover songs on it. It was all original stuff.
Actually, the way it made it sounded like you guys were playing on stage next to someone like Morbid Angel, for instance, or something like that.
Oh, no. No, just the local New York City, you know, death metal guys or whatever they were. It was interesting times.
Yeah, I see. That's still pretty killer, too. And actually, I was kind of the same way, because I think the funny thing is when you first start off listening to, like, different sort of styles of music, at first you're always like, WTF is this sort of thing. Yeah. And, like, for some reason, it keeps coming back for some reason. Yeah, something like a riff or something like catches your attention.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I got like into to like Dimmu Borgir, because I loved like the speed of their songs. I was like, oh my god, these guys are playing so fast, and then they had like the orchestral things and the keyboard stuff in there, and that's all like my favorite stuff between the speed and then the keyboards. I'm like, that's so cool. And then you know the vocals, it took me a while to get into, but once I really started getting into it, I really started to enjoy it. You know.
Yeah, those black metal guys always like to scream. Don't really like the growls too much. So
yeah.
Actually, funny enough, when I actually started hearing about Dimmu Borgir, it was actually a friend of mine was wearing a T-shirt. Actually, we were playing football together. And I noticed one of the T-shirts he was always wearing was that band, and he told me they have their own orchestra at first. I'm thinking like, wait, seriously? I would have thought it was like keyboards at first too, and then I think I saw a live video. It was actually a whole orchestra. So I'm like, holy shit, that's sort of thing too. I'm like, how'd you get that?
They probably did the orchestra for that show, but I know back in the day they did programming on the keyboards. But I'm sure they used orchestra too. So who knows?
Something like that too, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I know Black Dahlia Murder during like I think it was the Ritual album, and especially when you're seeing like how it all goes in the studio, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did see like a little, I think it was a quartet or it was maybe a quintet. It had a bass, cello, violin, viola, and maybe another instrument. It might have just been a quartet. I don't know, but they actually played that music for that album too. So.
Really? Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And you can also tell the difference too, between the real instrument and then the fake, program thing. So that's cool to know that, bands actually do hold these people in there, because it's not easy to get those people that play, that type of instrument along with metal music, So it's cool to hear that.
You just hope it's the people that have like multiple tastes, we should say.
Yeah,
That's a term I'm thinking too. Multiple tastes.
I always wonder what they're thinking. Like, what is this? What am I doing?
Well, you sort of want to bring like a top-rate cello player and just be like, hey, can you just play along with us too?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah. But I guess we can jump into your YouTube channel a little bit. So I guess let's start with the first one, Rat Salad Review, and then I guess if you want to talk about, maybe elaborate a little bit more on like the band channels as well. I guess go ahead.
Yeah, Rat Salad Review started in 2018. I did a couple shows earlier on before I did Rat Salad Review with my cousin, but they never really stuck. And I started listening to podcasts. I didn't even know about podcasts. And a friend of mine said, do you listen to these things? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what they are. So then I would look up some things that I like. I'm a big wrestling fan. And I started listening to and Vince Russo and Taz from ECW and all that stuff. So I really got into podcasting. And I was like, you know what? I need to make a show of my own. And I didn't want to do wrestling because I'm not a wrestler. I don't know nothing about wrestling. I just watch it. So I know about music. And I want to do a show that's about music. I want to either review albums, have interviews with musicians or stuff like that. And I had a friend that I used to talk to, or I still talk to, from a message board, and he wanted to do it. And me and him started a Rat Salad Review. I got a couple of the guys to do it with us too at first, but they really didn't work out. They only lasted like 2 shows, and we had a little falling out. And then went from there and got some other guys along the way. But now I think we have 5 guys now. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have just 5 co-hosts in this whole show now. It's insane, but this is the way the Rat Salad Review has been now. It's been the most fun I've ever had since we started. We all get along. My guitarist Lou, he's a co-host. The guy I started with, he's still there. Greg, another friend of mine, actually, he was from that message board where I found Greg. He's on the show now, and another friend from actually the guy I talked to you before about my mutual friend that called me about the song that we're working on. He used to do a podcast with the guy that's on my show, so that show stopped, and now he's on my podcast. So it's been a blast with this Rat Salad Review thing, and it's really been a lot of fun. Something I always wanted to do. Never thought it would get to be as kind of big as it's got now. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. Actually, now I think we're at 1,100 subscribers, and never thought we would get 5 subscribers, because I've seen shows that have been around for 8 years and they only got 5 subscribers, so it's kind of cool to see people actually watching the show. They comment on our stuff and everything, so it's been a lot of fun.
I would say podcasting is really kind of taken off as well, and I was sort of the same way because I actually didn't know what podcasting was at first, and then I think I was just listening to a couple of them. And it was just like, oh, these guys are mainly just treating it like a conversation. They're having laughs right here. They're kind of just talking about random shit at times, as long as it was like on a specific niche per se. Right. But it was still just them having conversation, especially like what we're doing right here. That sort of thing. Yeah. So I technically gave it a shot too, and I was fortunate to actually get a friend of mine out of Nashville who's also been kind of tearing it up in the country music scene.
Okay.
And that was how it started with me. And it's funny when you mentioned about wrestling, because I know we talked about it earlier as well, especially with you trying to create a theme song for him. So I think I was gonna say, how heavy is it too, because I wasn't sure if it would be like one of those like ultra heavy songs coming in and be like not messing around, that sort of thing, I guess. Or is it similar to how the tone is with like Severed Angel.
I don't know yet because I haven't heard it yet. He didn't send me the file, so I don't know.
I was gonna say I thought he already sent you the file. I thought you listened to it. It'd be like
No, he sent me the parts. He sent me How we work Severed Angel is my guitar player will come up with parts of a song, and he'll send it to Alex, my singer, who's actually our studio engineer as well. So that's usually how we come up with a song. He'll take Lou's parts and put them together and make a song. Then send it to me. I'll do my drums, do whatever I want or whatever. Well, on this is different. Whatever we're doing for the wrestling thing, Lou just came up with a song. But he sent me parts that he would send Alex. So everything he sent me it's all over the place. So I have no idea what the song sounds like.
just jumbled it all together. That's what
That's all it is. And I'm like, and like I mentioned before, before we came on here, he called me and he's like, "Did you do the song?" I'm like, "No, because I don't have it." And then he's telling me, "Yeah, you do." And I'm like, "No, this is all I have." So I have no idea what it sounds like yet.
Actually,
But I don't think it's going to sound like Severed Angel because Alex isn't mixing it either, so it's not going to sound like Severed Angel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking it would be like, I know one of the bands like Cryptopsy, it was like those sort of things. It was like music jumbled together, and somehow it still makes like sort of rhythm together.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. So
Some of our songs are like that. Some of our songs you listen to, I'm like, how does that even work? Because sometimes I listen to, man, I don't know about this song, but after another 2 listens, and then I really like, especially a new song that we just did, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of a little bit thrash, a little power metal-ish, and it's only a 3-minute song, and it's really quick. And it's just like, I don't know where Alex is going to sing on this, and some of the parts are really weird, and Alex put lyrics to it, and he sang on it, and it sounded really cool. I'm like, wow, this just came out really awesome. It came out better than I thought it was going to come out. So, it really depends.
Yeah, that's technically how it works too. Or somehow people have the magic touch to like make everything just go their way.
That's
I guess.
it. Yeah, that's it. That's one thing I like about working with the guys in Severed Angel, because, like I mentioned, my older band, Phoenix Rain, we all were a family. We worked on songs. We used to go to studios. I was younger back then, so I had the time for all that stuff. And we would work on our songs. And, we all got along, but until the end of that band, things just dissolved or whatever. We did actually get to put out an album. It's called Destination Unknown. If you want to find it, it's on Spotify. It's everywhere. I swore never to start another band ever again, because the way that ended, I wasn't happy, And probably like 6-7 years later, I started another band, Project Resurrect. And I said, I don't want other people in this band, because before we started that band, we were doing it with some friends, and then this guy would come, this guy wouldn't come. And I was like, you know what? My guitarist, Pete, I said, it's just me and you do this, because nothing will ever get done. So it took us 4 years to get one album done. And then we started doing cover songs at Rat Salad Review, and I'm like, well, let's just start a band with a bunch of people that I already know and see what happens. So that's how Severed Angel started. But I don't even know why I got here. How did I get here?
I don't know. I think at one point I was just saying like how the studio just works too, but I guess you're still tying back into the question earlier because
I guess so. I don't know. I just went off.
I
had something in my mind.
I don't know. This is some good entertainment, that's for sure. So
this is how my show is. This is how Rat Salad Review is. I just go off.
Hey, I mean, it works. I mean, whatever works. That's the thing. So, but I had to go back to wrestling too, because I guess we're also a big fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I was. I was more a fan of the old Steve Austin, the stunning Steve Austin from WCW. Back when he had the hair. He was a lot better wrestler, I think, back then. When he got to WWF and was Stone Cold, he did the Hulk Hogan thing and did like 3 moves, and that was it.
Thing.
But he was still cool. He had this thing. He was always beating up Vince McMahon, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm a fan of him. Yeah, my favorite though is Mick Foley, Mankind.
I was saying they always do like the chicken wings or hits too, where they just jump a dude. I ever say Nacho Libre, that sort of thing. Jumping off I guess all the strings too, or the ropes along the edge of the ring.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Or they hit him with a steel chair, that sort of thing too. I would always credit them for being like acrobatic per se, but I would say I never really respected so much of the hitting too, because I would always think like, I need to see blood, that sort of thing too, or it was like, I need to see like UFC sort of fighting style, because the UFC, those cage fights, that's when they get pretty serious, or like that was like a friend of mine's into like more Thai. That's the famous sort of fighting style that's coming out of Thailand, kind of making a scene here in Pittsburgh. That's where I hail from.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've always had respect for it, but at times I always think it's pretty good show to every now and again maybe see if there's like nothing on TV.
Yeah.
But I know about Stone Cold Steve Austin because I think I remember the commercial too, and it was one where I think he's just sitting down at the table, and then like the waiter just like drops everything. He just goes, "Oh hell yeah," that sort of thing. I forget it was like referencing WrestleMania, but I know there's people like jumping off the top of their trailers just to crash into a table.
Oh
per
yeah,
se.
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
That was funny.
It's probably for WrestleMania or something. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as like a wrestling fan like I used to be when I was younger, but I still watch it once in a while. I'll definitely watch the pay-per-views and stuff like that, but week to week, no. I listen. That's why I listen to the wrestling podcast. This way, I don't have to watch it.
What was it? Does Dwayne The Rock do anything?
No, he's just doing movies. He hasn't been back in a couple of years.
Just a big macho man, Black Adam, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, he's doing that, and actually, he owns the XFL now, which I don't even know if it's on. Can people watch it? I have no idea.
I saw it. I don't know if their season's done because I thought it was like instead of like having a conflict with the NFL per se,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it would be like in the spring per se, just to
All right, so
make it easier.
yeah,
You know what? I actually remember arena football. Do you guys have an arena football team?
I would not know. I have no idea.
They used to have it in Pittsburgh, but unfortunately, it never got the crowds. So it was always easy to find like good seats because
Yeah.
most of it was just empty. So unfortunately, it didn't last long in Pittsburgh. So that was kind of a shame. But I kind of wish it stuck around because I know Philadelphia actually has one. And at times I admit actually watching it and kind of enjoying it too. So
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a sports guy. Never was.
No.
I was terrible at sports. No.
Well, the way your guy described wrestling too, I wasn't sure if like your grandfather or father tried to get you doing wrestling. Maybe just try it for one season.
No. And actually, everybody in my family hated wrestling besides me and my brother. And they always hated when I watched wrestling. So, no, they didn't want me to do anything.
Or the brotherly love sort of instance too, where the two brothers start fighting each other, dishing it out over
constantly.
stupid shit. That sort
Yeah,
of thing.
constantly. We were always putting on our own matches in the living room. It was fun.
Just draw the ring, draw the line right
Yeah.
there. Or
Yeah.
Jay, like kind of like how sumo wrestling is in a way, where you just try to knock the one guy out, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, we try to actually hurt each other.
Very physically, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess let's see. I guess let's jump into this question right here. I guess what is it that you love most about music?
Me creating it. I love creating music. I love putting songs together. Listening to it, just the way it makes you feel like you're just escaping from everything, at the moment. You're just, your mind's, not worrying about what's going on in day-to-day life. And you can just sit there and relax and find some music that you really enjoy listening to and just listen to it over and over again. And my son's been finally getting into music. He's always been into music since he's been a baby pretty much because I'm always playing something. But lately he's been finding songs that he really likes, and it makes me happy to see that he's finally getting into stuff. Even though some of the songs I don't really care for, or I don't want to hear them 8,000 times, but it's cool to see that he's really starting to get into it. And that's the thing that I really like about it, because you can really find something, no matter what genre of music you listen to, you're going to find something that you like. It's going to make you feel a certain way too.
I was going to say, is he getting into the genres that you're not really into, like hip hop, rap, that sort of thing?
No, he's only 7 years old, so we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. I guess I'm jumping too soon, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you make him sound like he's a teenager now, that sort of thing, too.
Oh, no. But actually, some of the things that he likes, you would think he is. And he loves the Mario movie because he's watched it like 100 times by now. And he loves the songs that are in there, the Take On Me, and what's that, I Want to Be a Hero. I don't know the real name of the song, but you know what I'm talking about.
Was it I'm Waiting for a Hero or something?
This song, Bonnie Taylor sings it, I Need a Hero. I know it's not called that. It's called something else.
Actually, I know a friend of mine who actually dresses up as Darth Vader and does drum covers. I think he played that one too. I think it was I'm Looking Out for a Hero. I think that's what it was.
Something like that. Yeah. But every day he's like, put that song on. I'm like, oh my God, enough. But yeah, he's cool. He'll hear songs that I listen to. He loves a song that Greta Van Fleet does. So I'm cool with that. He loves one of my songs, a couple songs actually he likes of mine. From Severed Angel, and every once in a while he'll surprise me, so it's cool.
I was gonna say it's more like that father-son moment. Be like, son, let me introduce you to Severed Angel.
Yeah.
Like, And then try to explain that whole thing out to him too. I'm going to feel bad for you too, because I'm going to be curious how you're going to explain the birds and the bees to him next. So
I have no idea. my wife might have to do that one.
I mean, you can never go wrong with a hot dog and a donut. I mean, you can just try that sort of thing. So, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you, but good luck there, mate. So,
yeah, thanks.
I didn't ask, what brand are your sticks?
I do. Somebody else asked me this. That's funny because I do not use a particular brand of sticks. I only use what's on sale.
As I said, I mean, you just do the cheapest one, or is there one that kind of catches your eye?
If I do buy them, if I'm looking for a certain brand, I usually go for Vic Firth. But even those, like recently, I bought a pair and it just broke. Like I barely used them and they just broke. I'm like, how the hell are these breaking so fast? Because they're Vic Firth, there's either that or Pro Mark. Sometimes I'll use, but yeah, whatever's on sale. Nothing too cheap, nothing like the Amazon stuff. I will not buy on Amazon. I did once and they didn't last at all. But yeah, those two brands, I guess, mainly.
I see. Actually, funny enough, Amazon delivered us the wrong package, so we end up with these size 15 shoes of all things. So I mean, my feet don't even come close to that too. So I think like we got the shoe size the size of Shaq, to be honest. So sometimes Amazon's a little bit of a blessing because it really helps get in certain things per se.
Yeah.
Other times it's kind of a pain dealing with that.
Yeah.
And the worst part is we can't even return that either. So unfortunately,
really,
we're stuck with it for some reason because they did get my dad a refund, but unfortunately, we're stuck with these size 15 shoes, and we have no idea what the hell to do with them. So,
as long as you got them, as long as you got your refund, throw them up on eBay. Somebody will buy them.
I literally thought the same thing today. I'm saying, let's just put it on eBay.
Put them on eBay. Everybody buys everything on eBay. Actually, one of my customers, I think I saw them going into their house one day, and they had boxes of shoes. So I think they go to like the Nike store or whatever and buy whatever's on clearance, and they put it up on eBay.
I would say, but also a generous one to do. Give it to the vets, or
yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah. Especially if you got your money back already, then yeah, well, it doesn't matter what you do with them. And if it can help somebody, then yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, and go support the vets too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I guess let's jump into your CD collection too. I guess how do you guys all start with that? Is that kind of inherited from your grandfather and your dad, and then you're buying purchases too?
My father, no, definitely not my father. He does not like my music whatsoever. He's a country guy, and I never liked his music, and he never liked mine. But we get along.
My grandfather.
Yeah, of course, it's my father. My grandfather, no. Unfortunately, he really didn't listen to a lot of stuff I liked either. And at the time when he passed away, we had his whole record collection, and this was before I sold them in a yard sale because there was nothing we could do with them, and nobody had a record player, so those are all gone. Unfortunately, now I do have a record collection, and I got over like 300 records, so I should have kept those records. But still, there wasn't too many things in here that I liked. But this is all my stuff. This is all something that I started collecting all of a sudden. I'm a huge fan of the band Helloween. I started, and they're the band that started the whole entire thing. Helloween's got so many B-sides and singles and stuff like that, and Japan releases. So I all of a sudden found all these things. I'm like, oh, I want to collect this Helloween, that Helloween, this. And that's what started the whole thing. And then I had to have this band, that band, every band that sounded like Helloween, and it just went on and on.
I always hated it when they would only do songs like B-sides, as you said, or they release certain songs in like certain countries, mostly Japan, because I think that's like the number one spot that everyone wants to do it. Because like you never knew like what songs they were. I think I know like a couple of, like more of the heavier metal songs that I listen to, for instance, and I think it was you never really knew what they were unless you like YouTube did for whatever reason. So I guess I think I also remember about Helloween too, because I think a friend of mine from Scotland actually wanted to do a cover from them. And I think they also did a Riot James Dio cover of Man on the Silver Mountain. Hammerfall. What the fuck am I doing? Yeah.
Well, Kai Hansen from Helloween was on that cover. So that's probably why you got the Helloween thing. Yeah.
I think it's because they sound a little bit similar too, because I think they always got the high pitch sort of singing right there.
They do. They're a little bit similar. That's how I got into Hammerfall too, because of Helloween. People kept saying Hammerfall sounds exactly like Helloween. I don't think they do at all, but they have some similarities.
Yeah, absolutely too. So,
yeah.
I think, are you also collecting like action figures or something, or I guess what sort of memorabilia
Oh,
they have up above there on the top shelf?
You want me to move the camera around? I got so much stuff here. Everything is a mess. Don't mind the mess. I got to clean up. But yeah, there's stuff all up there. That's actually, that whole wall is all like the remastered CDs and like the reissues and stuff like that. But yeah, there's all like a Wizard up there. There's some wrestling figures that I have here. On this other side here, I can't really get to it, but I have like a Ninja Turtle collection.
Oh, you're big into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, NECA started putting all these figures out. When it was just this past 2 years, they started doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Actually, I know they did one with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
But there was like one for like each decade too. I forget I want to say one was the 80s, and then I remember the one from the early 2000s. That one was badass.
Oh, no, I'm more the 80s because these all look like the 80s. I can't, what it is? I would show you, but like they're stuck over here. I got it. Hold on. And actually, these are kind of cool because this is from the movie, from the Ninja Turtle movie, but they also added them as a character on the TV show, the Toka and Razor figures. So I thought this was pretty cool. But all the figures they look like the cartoon. But they also have the movie ones too. There's so many. I can't keep up with it.
Actually, you know what? I never really dug like the live action ones per se. I've always thought that should have just stuck with the cartoon per se.
Yeah. I want to see the new one too. There's a new movie out, the cartoon one. It looks kind of weird, but it seems like it's gonna be cool.
It was like a claymation sort of thing too.
It looks like it might be like that. Yeah, they move weird. They look weird, but I don't know. I'll still watch it.
I think it's a Nickelodeon one, so I think that's where you have to look for it.
Yeah. I think Nickelodeon owns it now, so yeah, definitely.
You know, I think
what's that?
I was gonna say, I think that explains one that they did a while back. I think it was like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
It looked a little bit more skinnier, and I think some people would say there was a little bit more of a gayness and sort of involved as well. So
yeah, I don't know. It's a little strange. So, and this is my record collection over here.
There she be.
So yeah, that's my record collection, and then some more toys up there. I'm a huge Gwar fan as well. So there's my Odorous figure that just came out, I think, last year. That was pretty cool.
I always got a kick out of Gwar so much because my dad, he actually stumbled upon Mudvayne, and that was when they used to have all the makeup and everything too. Yeah, and he thought that was crazy. And I'm trying to tell my dad, like, you have no idea, because Gwar, Mudvayne dwarfs in comparison to Gwar.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely, yeah.
You know, as odd as they were, I always had to give them props. I mean, they stuck to their guns, that sort of thing too, and they put on a show. And
they definitely do.
They definitely do. You know, recipes to Brock. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorite vocalists. I know he's like weird and crazy, whatever, but his voice just fit that band so much. And here it's like seeing his things on YouTube, all the interviews that he did, and he was always on that Fox, the Red, whatever that show was, I can't remember, but he was always on it, and it was always funny. And just everything the guy did was just like genius, you know. He was just a genius, man. And to see that he'd passed away, I was so. Out of all the other musicians that have passed away that I liked, he's the one that really kind of got me a little upset.
Yeah, I can understand too.
You know,
I think I saw him on I was trying to make sure, not Livewire. It was the one with Guru Hobbit on it, and I know it was like one of the things. Loudwire, that's what it was called. It was called Loudwire.
Yes, yeah.
And you just see him in his crazy outfit too, little puffer fish and everything.
Yeah. And it's a shame. I mean, the band's still going around. I still like them, but the humor that Dave Brockie brought to the band, it's gone. It's not there anymore. The music's still cool though. I like the music.
Yeah, I think I've heard a couple from them too, and it was like, yeah, it's still got it. I mean, it's still pretty good. So
yeah, it's still the same guys that were there when Brockie was there. It's just the singer. Actually, the singer now is the old bass player, so it's all pretty much the same guys.
I think I remember when I did see him in Viva La Bam, but they were also referenced because I think Bam Margera wanted to bring him for the wedding reception because I know.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know he talked about like all the bands he was like listening to.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to also bring in Metallica too, but he ended up just sticking with Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
Which still turned out pretty nice and everything too. So they didn't have to bring in the death metal or anything too.
Yeah.
I always got a kick out of it too, especially when Missy, which was his fiance at the time, she was trying to find that in between jazz and death metal, that sort of thing.
Right.
And it's like there's not too many bands that kind of fuse those two together, let alone they'll do jazz for maybe like a few seconds and they'll jump into their death metal. that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny. The band just jumps up, be like, "No, there's no in between jazz and death metal too. If there's going to be any sort of music, I want to listen to some crazy shit."
Yeah.
It's technically
Although, I think Coroner kind of is like a jazzy type thrash metal band, right?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
No, I think they are. One of my guys on my show, he's a huge Coroner fan, and they do have some jazzy influences.
I was actually thinking more of Cryptopsy because I know they, in certain parts of their songs, there would be like they just jump right into a jazz sort of funk sort of thing too. So that's why it made me think of it too. But regardless, to each their own, and cool collection as well. So, because who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Oh God, Michelangelo.
The pizza eating sort of nutcase at times.
Yeah.
You know,
I also like the nunchucks too. So,
the nunchucks. Everyone loved the nunchucks. Actually, I just learned recently that he was actually the first one drawn because they were picturing a turtle with nunchucks. So,
really?
Oh. So he was actually the first one conceived, and everybody else kind of just fell in later.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I'm a little torn between everybody else because each one's got their unique personalities as well as their own pros and cons per se. I think referencing more back to the 2000 one. I think I always liked Leo and then a little bit of Raph as well.
Yeah. See, Raph was always my least pick. Like if I played the video game or something, he was the last one I picked. I don't know why. Maybe because he had the size and they were always so short and they couldn't hit anybody. You know, so you always had Leonardo who had the sword, so you could hit somebody in the games. And Donatello was cool because he had the stick, and even Michelangelo with the nunchucks because they reached out. But Ralph, he always had the size, and they would barely reach anybody. So he'd be like the last one I picked.
I think it was more so personality wise, especially like how his character developed throughout the series too. Yeah. So
he was always grumpy. I mean, I'm grumpy too, but you know,
I don't want not as grumpy as that. So that's
I can be. I'm in a good mood right now.
That's good. Otherwise, this would make for a terrible interview.
Yes, actually, a couple hours ago, I had a terrible headache and I wasn't feeling well. Yes, I probably would have been, but I'm fine now.
No, I guess it was a good thing that we did schedule a little later.
Yes.
And he also had some family things to take care of too, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess let's see where we're at. I don't know if you actually did answer this, but did you say what you hope to achieve with your YouTube channels?
I don't know if I want to achieve anything. I just want to achieve just having fun, you know, just and showing people other bands that they might not know. I mean, that was the whole point of Rat Salad Review, was to show people bands that like independent bands maybe, or just even old bands that people just never heard of. Because there's bands that my co-hosts bring on the show that will review an album of, and I've never heard of it, you know, and they've been around forever. So just things like that. I always want people to find other bands I've never even heard of before and give them a chance, you know.
It's kind of the same way with me with the podcasting too, especially after joining the group band together too. So now it's like we're now able to reach out to these various artists as well as musicians, because some of them are just like solo groups per se. It's just one guy just doing like maybe everything all together, whether it's with synthesizers or actual guitars and everything. So now we get a chance to expose in a good way. I tend not like it, say expose, because it sounds like a bad word per se. In other words, show people.
Exactly.
Along those lines. We show people these musical talents as well as like how they are individually. So
yeah, it's a cool thing, you know. And that my co-hosts sometimes don't like a lot of the bands that I just want to have on the show. They're just not into the music or whatever. So it is hard for me to do it. That's why I'll do shows on my own all the time, you know, just to have an interview, because from being in a band myself, I know how hard it is to get your music out there. So I always want to help as many bands as I can. If I can do the interviews with these bands, and then I will, you know. I also have to like the music too, but sometimes I'll just do it just to do it, because everybody needs help, you know. And if I can offer a little bit of help with an interview, then I will.
That sounds good. And good luck on your journey there, mate.
Yeah.
But I did mention about COVID when we were like messaging back and forth. So I guess you did say it kind of tied in with the group too. So I guess
yes, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
no, that's fine. And actually, let's jump into that one. So I guess how did it affect you personally, as well as with the family, community, and then if you want to incorporate or elaborate like how it helped with forming the bands and everything, go ahead.
Yeah, COVID didn't affect me at all. Like I said earlier on, I had it when my wife had it, my son had it. My father had it. He's the one, he got put in the hospital, but he got out. He ended up being all right. But yeah, it didn't affect me personally. It affected my guitar player though, and it happened as the band was starting. His mother got COVID. Actually, he got COVID, and then his mother got COVID. And his mother was older, and she had some other complications, from health issues and stuff like that. So she ended up, being put in the hospital for months or whatever. And we were just trying to start the band. I told him, we didn't have to start the band right away. You got stuff going on, but he wanted to get his mind off of things, and just wanted to do something while his mother was in the hospital and he couldn't do anything about it. So basically, that's how Severed Angel started, because he just wanted to get things off of his chest and wanted to just, make music. And unfortunately, his mother did end up dying from getting COVID and all the other stuff that she had. But that's the one thing that did affect the whole entire band situation with COVID. It just, in a good way, it started the band because my guitar player needed something to let his emotions out. So it worked in that way, but unfortunately, he had to lose his mother for the whole thing. But which was terrible, because he just had a daughter. I think his daughter was 2 years old at the time, so that was even harder for him because his daughter is not going to have her grandmother there. So it was tough.
I see. I'm very sorry to hear that. Do you need a moment? It sounds like you're kind of holding back there at the moment.
What's that?
I thought you were going to tear up a little bit because it sounded like it was a real hard story there. So
no.
You okay?
I'm good. I'm very hard-hearted in a way. It's just I try to just I hold this all in. Later when I hang this up, I'm going to cry.
Oh jeez. Manly tears. We'll say it's manly tears. So.
No, it's it just I've lost so many family members throughout my whole life. It's just a part of life now, and it's it hardens you after a while, so you kind of just get used to it.
Yeah, you ain't lying. I know what you mean too. So
yeah,
but good to have you guys around too. Yeah, and best of luck to you and your guitar player as well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and actually my other band too. My other guitar player, his father had cancer, and right as we were starting the band, he needed something to do as well, just like Lou, just needed to find something to keep his mind off of his father, and we wrote a whole album. Just during that whole entire thing. And I felt a bit terrible for him too, because he was going through that, and it was just a mess. It's strange though. Both albums were done in terrible circumstances, but they both made good albums. So
yeah, that's why I tend to avoid saying, was there any sort of blessing in disguise from what COVID did too?
Yeah.
And, did COVID allow you to jump into like any other sort of projects, kind of allow you to like study more on social media and like figure out how to work on YouTube?
No, because I was extremely busy with my job during COVID. Like as I mentioned before, I worked at the post office, so we got inundated with packages. Like everything was closed. People couldn't go to the stores, and being an essential worker, I had to deliver all that stuff. So it was. During that whole COVID time, that was maybe the one hardest thing for me was my own job, because I was working extra hours and I wasn't getting paid for any of it. Still haven't gotten paid for any of that stuff either, which we were supposed to, but they said nope, you're not getting anything. But that was the hardest part for me there.
Holy shit, dude, that is such a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah,
I can understand. So,
I had to make double trips and stuff like that. I'm just like.
It's an unfortunate greed factor, to say the least. So,
yeah.
Oh well. But it's good to have you around here, Wayne. And sorry for some of the losses that happened, but it's good to see everything came out.
Everything came
in terms
out.
of music, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how both the guitarists, feel about it too. It's like, even though they went through such a terrible tragedy, we got something out of it that's just, awesome. So.
All right. So, what sort of advice would you give to other musicians who are perhaps pursuing music career kind of similar to what you're doing, or just maybe trying to see where they can go with it?
Oh yeah. Don't expect to make any money doing music. You're going to be spending a lot of money, recording and getting somebody to mix your stuff and stuff like that. But you never got $5 after 3 years, and I have to split that with my guitar player. But if you want to play guitar, drums, whatever, make sure you take some kind of lesson, learn how to actually play the instrument, how to hold the drumsticks, how to do the guitar chords and stuff like that, and keep up with that, and just learn your instrument.
That's good advice. Thank you so much there. And I guess don't know if you talked about some of the gear you've been using. So I guess is that microphone part of it, or is that meant for the podcast only?
This is podcast only microphones. This is an MXL. I bought this actually in a yard sale. This guy had a bunch of audio equipment, and I bought this one, MXL 900. Or no, 990 or whatever. It's not a big deal. It's a cheap microphone, but it sounds cool. And then I have an interface. It's a Behringer interface. Another one my friend gave me, but that's just for the podcast and my computer. For recording drums, I have a Scarlett Focusrite 18i20, I think it is. It's got like 8 inputs, so everything is mic'd up here, and mics. Actually, I have 2 really. I don't even know what the hell they're called, but the 2 overhead mics are like $100 each or whatever. And Alex, my guitar player / singer / audio engineer, suggested I get those overhead mics. They're ones that he actually uses to record his vocals, and it does so many like. I don't know what it does because I don't do any of that stuff. It makes it easier for him to EQ and mix my drums, makes them sound a lot better than it did when I had the older mics there. My snare has a Shure SM57 mic on it, which is a very popular microphone. I think that's about it.
It's funny you mentioned about the Focusrite 18i20 because that's actually the one I've been rolling with for podcasting as well.
Oh, really? Okay. The big one? What are you doing with all the other inputs?
Sometimes just collecting dust, really. I mean,
oh my god.
Well, I would say I use 2 for the drum covers because I use electric drum sets.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So bring it in from the pan to the left and also pan to the right, so at least all works out in the end. So unfortunately, I don't use the other 6. So, and that was kind of my fault too because I was thinking like, well, let's get the high expensive one so that way
go big or go home.
It was sort of along those lines, but I think at the same time I was thinking like, I'll try to jump into studio engineering, that sort of thing, see what I can do with it, or see if I can try to make something out of it. But nope, had to eventually delve into just simple drum covers and podcasting, to be honest. So that's pretty interesting.
It does a lot. I don't know what it does, but there's a lot that it does that I don't do with it. So it's a good one to have.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're down to some of the last few questions. Actually, I did bring some fun ones on here. Okay, so I guess talk about sticks. I guess let's jump into some fun questions. Ready?
All right, go ahead.
So I guess let's start with drinking wise. I guess do you drink alcohol by any chance?
No, I drink water, and I'll drink diet sodas, which is supposedly terrible for you, and diet iced tea.
Apparently, still tastes very good. So
yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying them. So
yeah.
That was actually.
I'm still here. I'm 43 years old. I'm still here, so I think I'm doing all right.
I'm still leaving. I'm still kicking ass. That sort of thing.
Exactly.
That can say to me. Actually, did you used to drink it, or did you never get into any alcohol?
I really never got into it. I'll drink a couple things here and there. My wife she loves wine, and Christmas I'll get people handing me wine all the time, for a Christmas gift or whatever. So she gets all those gifts. But yeah, she's a wine drinker. I'll drink Mike's Hard Lemonade or something like that. But I really don't even enjoy those much anymore. I don't go crazy.
Yeah, I actually used to drink those too, and I was trying to remember the flavor. I know the original one was just your simple Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was a raspberry flavor. I couldn't honestly tell you right off the bat, but I remember drinking those. Actually,
there was a root beer one that came out like a few years ago. Everybody was raving about, and I did drink those for a little while.
Actually, no, I remember the commercials where one guy wanted to do Mike's Hard Lemonade with a touch of bacon cheeseburger.
Oh my God! No, I'm not drinking that.
Well, it was a joke, but it was technically a joke, but you get the idea. So
yeah.
But still good choices. I actually prefer Angry Orchard. Every now and again, I think I'll delve into Miller Lite. I think I'm turning into a straight edge, to be honest.
Really?
Because it's normally so far and few between. Because I feel like I need a crowd to enjoy any sort of like alcohol drink. That's on vacation too. So
right. Yeah.
Being a socialite. Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was always the odd one out. Everybody's always drinking and smoking around me. I never got into it, really.
I think it's also a prerequisite in terms of like being part of a metal band or something like that.
And that's what everybody always used to say. Like, how do you not drink? How do you not do this? How do you not do that? I'm just like, I just don't. I just never, nobody in my family really did that. So I guess it just went on to me too. We just never did it.
a good sort of bequeathment in order to make
Yeah.
up a word there. So, all right.
Yeah.
Or inheritance. Maybe we could say that's another
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
inheritance. So,
Yeah.
and do you have a favorite movie?
Let's go Back to the Future. It's always a favorite. And the Batman movies. What the hell was that? What was that last one? Dark Knight was cool.
The one with Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Yeah, that was cool.
They actually did the one with the guy from Twilight. It was a more
I
recent
have
one.
not watched that yet. I want to watch it, but it's 3 hours long, and I just have the time to sit there and sit through 3 hours of Batman. But I do want to watch it because it does look like it's a very interesting movie. I don't like how they did the Riddler. I don't like all the change of the costumes and stuff like that. But I will give it a chance.
Yeah, it used to be just a guy dressing up in a suit and tie with all the question marks in green. sort
Yeah,
of.
I like that. But I know what they're doing, so it's fine.
I actually remember him more in the Arkham series, where like he was more of a pain in the ass in the Arkham series because he had like so many trophies and so many riddles you had to like solve.
Yeah,
It was easier in the first one, and then it just got worse and worse as it got to like Arkham City and Arkham Knight. So, so I don't know. Did you ever play any sort of video games or?
Oh yeah, I have a huge video game collection. You can't see it here; it's over there. I can't turn the computer away, but tons of video games. I have video games upstairs. PlayStation 5 I play often. Nintendo Switch we're always playing. I used to be an Xbox guy, but PlayStation 5 I think blows Xbox away right now. So no more Xbox for a while.
Actually, I kind of roll the PS4, so I want to kind of get into doing like walkthroughs. To be honest,
Yeah,
maybe at some point, but that's for a separate channel. So
yeah.
we'll get to that at some point.
I try that once in a while too. I'll throw if I'm playing a game because now it's actually easy. PlayStation 5 you can just hook it up right to your YouTube channel. So if you want to play a game, it just goes automatically on there. And once in a blue moon, I'll do it. So it's a cool little thing to have.
That's very interesting because I know PS4 records it for you, and then after you're all done and everything, and you edit it, and this little factory share, I think it was called, then you're able to export it to your YouTube channel or wherever you want it to go.
Yeah. No, they made things a lot easier now.
Oh, that's good. Maybe an excuse to actually buy a PS5 now.
Yeah.
So, all right. And I think the last one right here, of all the drum covers, I don't know if you've done any drum covers, I guess, or everything you've done, what's been your favorite YouTube video?
My favorite YouTube video.
I guess just strictly from like your channels. So
Yeah. I guess we have done covers. There's been the Rats Out Review cover series, so there's been a lot of covers with that. One of the last ones we did was I kind of wanted to do, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's the first song on Revenge.
I was gonna say Detroit Rock City, but that's from
not
Destroyer.
that. I'm drawing a blank right now.
I guess just for clarity's sake, it was from that album.
It is from the favorite Kiss song ever. And I have and what was cool about it is everybody that did the song is in the video, but I also asked other people if they wanted to join in the video, other singers or just random friends of mine on Facebook, and even my son came in there. He sang the chorus, "Unholy." Thank you. I just remembered it now. A lot of people that did say, "Yeah, I'll pretend like I'm singing Unholy," the chorus of it. So I threw them in the video. We're all the bands in the video. That was a lot of fun. The first Severed Angel video was really cool because we did that the first day. We all had we actually did a band practice, one of the first band practices we actually ever did. And one of our friends that came with us, he took our phones and he shot us, playing our instruments and everything, and that came out pretty cool. And then there's another Severed Angel video too that we did that came out really cool because I found this website online. You can take like videos. Actors did like all these different videos and stuff like that. So I found a bunch of videos that fit the song, just magically fit the actual what the song was about. It's the song Attachment Unavailable, and it's basically about people always being on their cell phones and stuff like that. And that video just came out cool because it has the band in it and it has these extra scenes, so it looks like a real band video, and it really came out really cool. And I do all that stuff too. I do all the editing of the videos and stuff like that. And so I have a lot of fun doing that.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I had to catch myself too because normally people I've interviewed, they've done like a lot of drum covers per se. Mm-hmm. It's mostly been drummers, but even though I got like some people from like their own bands, or they're like the vocalists or also guitarists per se. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure I caught myself too because I think when I was checking out YouTube videos, I think I was seeing like it was reviews like different CDs. I didn't know if he did any drum covers. So
I don't, only because I'm not the drummer that will copy a song to the T. I will not play a song that somebody else has played the exact same way. I don't want to learn it the way they did. I want to do it my way. One, because I've been, even though I've been playing for so long, there's things I just don't know how to do, and I can't copy what certain people do. I don't have their same feel. I'm not them. So I just play drums how I play them. Like we did a cover of Rush's "Time Stand Still." I'm not Neil Peart. I'll never be Neil Peart. A lot of people will never be Neil Peart. I got close enough, and it came out pretty cool. But I don't want to do drum covers because I feel like people expect you to play what was played before, and I will not do that.
I see. Fair enough. It's funny you mentioned about Neil Peart because I forgot to ask this. Who would you consider has been your biggest influence?
So many people ask me that too, and I always say I never really have any drum influence because when I listen to music, I always listen for the singer and I listen for the guitar player. I always love guitar and I always love vocals, but there are drummers who have, I guess influenced me a little bit. From Soundgarden, Matt Cameron, Mickey D definitely from Motorhead and King Diamond. Always, and Rick Allen, he's the one that started it off, me wanting to be a drummer. There's so many drummers, that are cool, but for some reason I just never really gravitated towards the drummers in bands. I always went to the guitar players. I wish I'd never stopped playing guitar because I love flashy guitar things like Yngwie Malmsteen. That stuff just blows my mind, And Dragon Force, like we mentioned before, I don't know how they play that stuff. It's just like,
well, they don't play it to the T, so I don't know. It's like what you're hearing on Guitar Hero. So
exactly, it's insane, and I wish I could just play that stuff, but I can't, unfortunately.
We're drummers. We're meant to hit things legally.
Exactly. That's why I have drums, because if I get angry one day, I just come down here and I'll just hit my drums because they won't hit back.
Was you going to say put something on your door that says class in session or therapy in session or that sort of thing?
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
And actually, that kind of references back to the one question I asked: what do you love most about music? So most people would say there's some sort of therapy involved with it too after sort of stressful days. I guess in your case, any sort of things you kind of dealt with too. So it really helped in that sort of way.
Yeah, it is therapy too, because like I said, most of my day is filled with listening to podcasts, and my music listening sometimes isn't as much as it used to be. But when I do want to listen to music, it does put you in a better mood if you're like just in a terrible mood to begin with. It's you put the right album on and your mood changes just almost immediately.
Yeah,
unless you're angry and you put like on some kind of angry music, then you're just going to continue to be angry.
It's a punk influence in a way where we're kind of ripping on politics. That sort of thing.
Exactly.
So, all right, that's pretty cool. All right, so Wayne, we're nearing the end of my podcast. We're here. We do have one more question, but I guess before we jump into that, did you have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
Well, why did you want to start a podcast?
Well, let's see. I think it was even before pre-COVID, per se. I think I heard about podcasting. And I think at first I was kind of getting the definitions mixed up. So I thought at first it was like kind of like explaining like how certain things work. So let's just say drumming, you're kind of like breaking it down, like say music theory or something like that too. So I thought it was like walkthroughs or something like that. And I think when I finally started listening to it, I was like, oh, these guys are just having conversations. I guess I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So I figured, what the hell, we'll just give it a try and see what happens. And then, of course, COVID had happened. And figured, well, I got all this sort of free time on my hands, not really traveling or going anywhere else. And I think it started right in 2021. That was when I got my friend on from Nashville that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And that was how it started. And then afterwards, it was one after the other. I mean, I just started with drummers who were in our little drumming community. Joined the drum tour community today. That's what I'd say.
That's cool.
Actually, that's what a friend of mine put together. But, I mean, after that, it was just initially a hobby, and then I realized I'm really starting to like this.
Yeah.
So.
It's fun, man. And then the people you get to meet too, and when you get to like the really cool guests on it, it's a lot of fun. Sometimes there'll be days where I'm just either having a bad day or whatever, and I know I got something coming up, interview or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't feel like doing it, but I have to, because I can't tell somebody I'm canceling on them. I rarely ever cancel on anybody, no matter how I feel. and I'll get on the podcast, and instantly I'm in a better mood, and I enjoy doing this so much, and it's so silly of me to be like, I don't want to do this no more, because every time I come on here, when I do the show with my other co-hosts, we all just have so much fun. It's just like hanging out with your friends, except we're on the computer, I wish we'd be in person, it would be a lot funner, but we're all over the United States, so it's kind of hard to get together. But being with your friends and doing this with people that you like, and doing it with new people that you're meeting, and it's just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Eventually, we would like to get that Joe Rogan sort of room too.
And, yes, that is. I did try to set up this room a little bit. I bought some lighting and stuff like that, but I noticed for some reason it started giving me like headaches. I don't know, the way I had the lights in here or whatever. So I just went back to this, and I'm just like, whatever. This is how it is. But until I can get some kind of setup where looks kind of fancy, whatever, it's going to be like this.
What was that again? The neon lights going
yeah.
next.
Yeah. Nah, you know
Rat
what?
Salad Review. There we go.
Exactly. I did want to put some kind of Rat Salad Review logo up there, but actually my wife bought me for Christmas. I have it sitting over here. It's a holographic LED fan. I don't know if you know what that is. You know what that is?
I mean, I'm thinking of a fan. I think of like one of those things. There's a swishing the hair back, that sort of thing.
Kind of, but it's basically just like this bar. It goes like this, and it's on a thing and it'll spin the bar around, right? It'll put any image that you want on it, so it'll be like a hologram, and it'll look like it's moving in the background or whatever. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, if I turn that thing on, it's gonna sound loud. It's gonna sound like there's an airplane behind me, and two, God forbid I go back there to go reach for a CD, it'll take my head off. Because this thing spins around like 100 miles an hour.
Oh, geez.
I'm not putting that up.
Yeah, that's actually, I was going to say Amazon, but unfortunately you don't order anything from Amazon. So
I do. I have an Amazon account.
What was this one? Did you buy it, or did she buy that one from Amazon?
She bought it from Amazon. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I told her I don't know why, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because I don't want to die. I don't want to get my head chopped off.
I mean, I'm trying to picture it too. I'm thinking like one of those big blades or something like that too.
It is. It's a fairly big blade, and then it spins around like really fast.
Oh.
And it'll put the image on it. I mean, it's a really cool idea, but like I said, I don't want to be decapitated on my own podcast.
Or if it's like a chunk of your face, you end up like Two-Face.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need that right now. I'm ugly enough.
All right, fair enough. Right. I was trying to make sure I probably thought of another question too, and I actually had it on the tip of my tongue. It was one of those instances.
I'm not doing it. Actually, what time? It's 8:30. I'm not doing that. Although my son's probably waiting for me to put him to bed.
I see. Well, it might come to me a little bit, but I guess let's go ahead and jump into the last question on the list. Did you have any other ones for me, or did you want to just?
I think that's it.
All right. So the last question right here, this one I always like to ask, and it's actually one of my, I want to say staples at this point, because there's always one question I always come back to, always asking. Even though I think you kind of mentioned something with like, it kind of ties into like the advice you had said earlier, that sort of thing. But let's see what you say about this one. So, given what COVID has done, what sort of message of hope would you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world?
A message of hope. I don't know. What would you say? Let me see what you would say first. You answered this question. This is a tough question. I'm turning it on you.
One thing I've always noticed when people ask this, sometimes there's a little bit of a struggle with it, but it's always along the lines of don't give up to life's always a struggle, because it's nothing's ever going to be given to you on a silver plate, for instance, or the whole thing of like Charlie getting the golden ticket per se.
Yeah.
I mean, people have made success because they had to quote unquote suffer through it. As I always like to say, I like to call it the beauty of pain. So you have to go through a lot just to get up to the top, for instance. And sometimes life really throws you bad lemons per se that really you have absolutely no control over. And the thing is, you gotta react however you want it to be. So you can either lay down and die, and then people just forget about you then. You just fade into obscurity like pretty much a good number of people. Or you get up and you try to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I like that answer.
Was that you're going to try to mimic me now?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it as eloquent as you just did, but you're right. You know, you gotta, if you want to do something, just like I started doing Rat Salad Review. The people I started with wanted to do all these things before we actually did a show, and I'm like, no, we're just doing the show. Because if I did not just do the show, there would not be a show. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, if you want to do it, just do it. Don't wait for other people. If you want to get a band together and this person's not coming to practice all the time, you know what? Goodbye. Find another person to fill in his shoes. So always, like you said, you always got to just get up and do it.
Absolutely, too. And spoken like a true prodigy.
Yeah.
It's one of the catchphrases. So,
but you helped me with that one because I really couldn't think. But yeah, you're right. Yep.
Actually, that's the first time someone actually asked me to come up with my answer to my own question, that sort of thing. It does change a little bit every now and again, but it's always been along the lines of don't give up.
Yeah, definitely.
And just keep going forward.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you
you
forget
always
about
gotta
the
just do
troubles.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, if you forget about your troubles, kind of along the lines of like short-term memory, per se. You don't think about those too much. Otherwise, you try to make it your strength, per se. So
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you just don't wait on anybody. Just do what you got to do.
absolutely. All right. So, Wayne, we reached in my podcast right here, and we've actually talked for a good while right now. So, I guess, do you have any final words or any shout-outs you want to say before we close?
Yes, I do. I have plenty to say. I'm not done with this. We got another hour or two to go. Come on. No. Severed Angel. You can get our CD, severedangel.bandcamp.com. There's not too many left. Actually, we just got hooked up with a distributor, so this is going to be. So I only have like a few left here. So once that distributor takes like about 100 or so from me, I really have very few left. So please get it now while you can. Project Resurrect, projectresurrect.bandcamp.com. You can get this CD, False Reality. I have plenty of these CDs, but the Severed Angel one, those have sold out a lot more than I expected they would have. Rat Salad Review, you can go to ratsaladreview.com, or you can go to youtube.com/ratsaladreview. You can hear all our shows. You can also find us on any streaming platform. We're everywhere. So just look up Rat Salad Review, and you'll find everything. And you can find me on any social media, Rat Salad Review. My real name, Wayne Noon. I'm on social media. I think it's facebook.com/therealWayneNoon. Twitter, even though I don't really use Twitter that much anymore. Instagram, Rat Salad Review, and TikTok, Rat Salad Review, and Severed Angels on there as well.
You know, I was getting ready to say, did you read my mind? Because normally people don't normally go into that far. They always I always have to ask them, like, hey, how else can people reach you? That sort of thing, too. So
I've been doing this for long enough. I know what I'm doing.
Yep. I know what I'm doing. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm a professional. I'm a professional.
Exactly.
You know what? I got to get the New York accent. You got to be, forget about it.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on. I got to hear it.
Forget about it.
All right. That's good. All right. Well, thank you again so much again for coming on. Stay safe. God bless.
Yes, you
Stay
too.
tuned,
Thank you very much for having me on. I had a lot of fun.